What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube. And today I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I review current movies that are in theaters or recently released for you guys to tell you guys whether or not these movies are worth seeing. This is one of the most anticipated releases of 2019. I am talking today on The Drive-In about Jordan Peele's Us. Now, those of you guys that know Jordan Peele from Key and Peele, doing a lot of comedy sketches, he broke into horror last year with the critically acclaimed and universally loved Get Out, which I think is an excellent movie. I love the social aspect of it. I love the fact that he's bringing kind of black cinema into the mainstream audience. He's bringing a lot of fans of other genres into horror because of his style and his new way of doing things. And he was following that up with a horror movie called Us. And everybody has been on the bandwagon of this thing from day one. This has been one of the most talked about movies in a long time. It recently came out at South by Southwest, and a lot of critics called it the greatest horror movie of all time. So I wanted to see it as soon as possible. I saw it last night. I'm recording this on Tuesday morning. So it came out this past weekend. I just saw it yesterday. So what I'm going to do for this review is I'm going to talk to you guys about it spoiler-free at first because I know it's opening weekend. So those of you guys that have not seen it, you can watch this review safely and not be spoiled by anything. And then at the end of the video, I will let you guys know that I'm getting into spoilers for the movie as well. So this first part of the video is spoiler-free. Us was written and directed by Jordan Peele, starring Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Shahadi Wright Joseph, and Evan Alex. It is a almost 2 hour. I think it's an hour and 56 minutes. It is a home invasion / sci-fi horror film, and so many positives on this thing. The hour and 56 really flew by. It's very well paced. It is a story, and you'll see this in the trailer. It is a story about a family who's going on vacation together, staying in a relative's house for a vacation, and they get broken into by people that look just like them. They say in the tagline, one of the kids says, "It's us." So it is some sort of a sci-fi clone version of this family who is out to do evil. So it is part sci-fi, part home invasion. I see a lot of influences on this from like The Blob and like Pod People and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There was a lot of good cloning movies back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. We saw a lot of alien invasion. We saw a lot of cloning. We saw a lot of alien people kind of movies in those days, but we have never really seen a good modernized version of it in current day, and that's exactly what this is a very good modernized version of it. Keeping in the non-spoiler theme, I've got to say the cinematography in this was excellent. Some of the overhead drone shots they used a lot of like specific insert shots of like items dropping and bending over and things like that. Very well done. The setting of the movie being contained to a beach house was very appropriate. They were in open air, but a lot of times it just felt very claustrophobic because they were in a house or they were on the beach where you really couldn't tell where somebody was going to pop out from, or they were on a boat. So there was a lot of open air, but a lot of like small contained environments in this movie that added to the tension a lot. So cinematography and location were both on point. The location manager chose very good scenic things that were color graded well, and it just looked very pretty to watch on screen, but was also kind of eerie as well, which is what you want in this style of horror film. Also, I've got to say the music was really on point. It was a little synthy, kind of throwback Carpenter-ish. It was a little melodic and had a lot of beats. They took some modern music like the I Got Five on It song from the trailer, slowed it down and made it creepy. There was a lot of nice mixture of classic horror soundtrack themes on this. It reminded me of a lot of classics growing up in the 80s, the Friday the 13th with Harry Manfredini. Like I said, John Carpenter with Halloween. There wasn't any one particular catchy tune they used throughout, but it was all dark, it was all slowed down, it was all kind of helping to build the tension. And the sound cues just were on point. Whenever the family was invading the house, the pounding and the creaking and stuff just really made for an anxiety-ridden atmosphere, which again, in a claustrophobic style horror film, that's what you really want. Also, without getting into spoilers in this part, the themes here were very cool because aside from blending the alien invasion, home invasion, pod people kind of cloning thing which is rarely done. They also had a lot of government kind of themes. They had a lot of overtones, metaphors for the world, just like Get Out did. Get Out was racially motivated, and they had a lot of commentary, social commentary, on today's world. And that's what made Get Out not just a horror film, but also a social film, kind of a justice film. There was a lot of layers to Get Out that made you think about the world today and was very tonally appropriate to today's society. And that's exactly what Jordan Peele did with Us here as well. And I will get into that particularly, specifically, more in the spoiler section because I don't want to spoil the story itself. The casting was on point here. All four of the people I said, Lupita Nyong'o, Winston Duke, Shahadi Wright-Joseph, and Evan Alex as the family, were all excellent characters. They all had their traits. Lupita Nyong'o played a very stoic character who used her face to really show the fear and tell the story from her childhood flashbacks up to the current day stuff. She used her face incredibly. All of the family took limited dialogue here and made the most out of their acting with their facial expressions and being afraid. And really, there wasn't a ton of dialogue once the action picked up. It was very, very secular in points, but it was well used. Winston Duke was kind of the comic relief character. He was the father in this, and he was just a funny, cheesy dad that was doing a lot of cheesy dad things to kind of antagonize his family. He was just really enjoying the atmosphere and chewing scenery. He was one of the show stealers in this film. Winston Duke was an excellent father. A lot of good lines, a lot of good comedy from him to kind of break the tension a little bit. Also a strong leader in this film. Shahadi Wright-Joseph, very strong. She did a lot of the aggressiveness toward the pod people. Anytime there was like any kind of fighting things, she did very, very well in that. Good choreography, and she just sold it very well. She was a really underrated inner strength in this film. She brought a lot of heart to this movie, playing a realistic portrayal of a social media obsessed kind of daughter who's not very present but sticks up for her family whenever she needs to. And Evan Alex was really good. He had the mask on. I think they show that mask in the trailer as well, but he has this mask that he likes to use. His name was Jason, and I wonder if he was named after Jason Blum or Jason Voorhees, because I know Jordan Peele loves horror, but Blumhouse was the producer of this film, and they produce gold always. But I wonder if Jason was named after those guys, but he was a really awesome character as well. Very strong young character in this as well. Now I want to get into spoilers real quick. So from this point forward, I will be introducing spoilers to the plot of this movie, so if you have not seen it, pause this video, go watch Us, come back and watch this video and see what you think. Spoiler-wise, essentially this story is a family of four going on a vacation to their grandmother's beach house after she passes away. We see at the start of the film that Lupita Nyong'o's character goes in, kind of leaves her parents at a carnival. She goes into this house of mirrors, and she comes face to face with her doppelganger, an evil version of herself, in this house of mirrors, and it haunts her forever. Then we come to present day, and we find out that the family is going to the same beach house, the same sort of area as that carnival and House of Mirrors is in. And throughout the film, we come to realize that these people, these clones, are made by the government to control the population on the earth. They're made to run things. But the government failed and lost control of their experiment, so all of these copies, they're called the Tethered, they all wind up living underground, basically, and being stuck to feast on rabbits and live a shadow life. So these shadows, these clones, were made to control things, and the government failed, so now they are stuck underground living on rabbits, while their shadows, their better halves, are up here on Earth living above ground, living regular life. So it's a government experiment kind of gone wrong, and these shadows now raise up to take back the world and come up and kind of have their time on top living in the world while they try to kill and destroy all the humans that are currently living. There's so many metaphors for this. They talk about the Lupita Nyong'o's doppelganger character called Red, wearing a red coat. All the red coats are the doppelgangers, talking about how you guys married the loves of your lives and you had children and you eat beautiful feasts and you live this beautiful house. We were stuck in a dingy underground. We had to marry whatever was left over. Our kids were deformed. We had to feast on live rabbits. We had a miserable existence. So it's our time now to take back what you guys had. And they ask them, what are you guys? And they say, Americans. It is a metaphor for the fact that some are the haves and some are the have-nots, and some are privileged and some are not, and some people that are privileged hold down some of the ones that aren't. And so and of course, all the red people as well, the redcoats, all lock hands in form of like protest, forming a line as well, which speaks to today's protesting and speaking up for civil rights and social justice. So there are definitely some overtones of government slowdowns and holding people down, and the American dream and the way Americans live, and greed and suffering and poverty, and just all these metaphors for life. Jordan Peele has his pulse on America and on the stuff we're going through right now with the protesting and the class warfare and the racism and all the stuff we have going on today. So Jordan Peele, in addition to making a good thrilling horror movie with good characters, also makes an excellent statement on social justice in today's modern world. But at the end of the movie, I kind of predicted this. It winds up that as they flash forward, the doppelganger took over Lupita Nyong'o's character, and she actually was living up in the main world. So when she says to the girl on the beach, I have a hard time talking, it's because she's trying to learn how to be, human. She's not as human as the rest of them because she came as one of the tethered. She is now the human, and the person who was Lupita Nyong'o's character, the original human, winds up leading the doppelgangers up to take back the world. So at the end, there's a switch, and I think the son knows there's a switch. Evan Alex's character knows the switch because he looks at his mom and is scared and puts his mask down. So one of the bad guys survived and won, and you think she's good the whole time. And then, regardless of the fact that the heroes win in the end and they kill their doppelgangers, there's still a worldwide epidemic of this takeover, and you see across the world in mountains in a whole long shot of all these redcoats still locking hands. The tethered are still out there locking hands, ready to kill and continue their takeover. So could be open for a sequel, could be just a metaphor for the world. So some of the bad guys win in spite of this family surviving their tragedies into triumph. So very good story, very good characters, good tension, well shot, good metaphors, well paced. Everything about this movie just nailed it. It is a great societal film. It's a great sci-fi film. There's good tension. There's good home invasion. There's good music. Everything about this movie across the board is phenomenal, and I can't wait for Jordan Peele to do Twilight Zone in about a month, and he's doing the new Candyman in 2020. I cannot wait to see what he does next because his stuff is always tense, and it's always in good environments, and there's always a balance of racial and government and societal issues in his movies. He just does things very well. The dialogue's always believable, the families are always believable, it's always well cast and well acted, and Blumhouse is a great producer. So stars across the board for me. I'm going to give this movie 9 out of 10, personally. 9 out of 10. My favorite movie so far in 2019. If you guys have seen it, tell me in the comments below what you think about this movie. What else do you want to see Jordan Peele take on? Are you as obsessed with this thing as I am, and are you going to watch it again? Tell me in the comments below, guys. Let me know what other movies you guys want to see me review on The Drive-In, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.